everybody, and welcome to GenFriends. I'm your host, Sherry Hudson Passey from Carolina Girl Genealogy, and we have such a fun show for you tonight. The first thing I'm going to do is introduce this wonderful panel, and then our very, very special guests who you already see, and you've already figured that out. But let's start with Mary Kircher Roddy from MKR Genealogy. Hi, Mary.
Hi, Sherry. And everybody.
So, yeah, a fun night tonight. We've got Shelley Murphy, our family tree girl.
Hi, glad to be here tonight, coming in from Virginia.
So glad you're here. We've got Mr. Dan Earl himself, our family history guy. Hey, Dan.
Hey, Sherry, glad to be here.
I'm so glad you're here too. Laura, well, I almost said Wilkinson because I'm trying to say your whole Laura Hedgecock. Laura Hedgecock is here from Treasure Chest of Memories. Man, I haven't messed up your name yet, so it's about time, right?
Yeah. I too am happy to be here.
I'm glad you're here. And last but not least, down in the very bottom on my screen, I don't know where she is on yours, is Melissa Barker, our archive lady. Hello, Melissa.
Hi, everybody. Glad to be here.
Well, this is my fabulous panel that joins me for Relative Race each week. Look, we've got Relative Race fans straight from day 7, meeting their last relative with their golden ticket. Our Angie and Kelly, Team Green from season 9. We are so excited to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Thank you. So we have enjoyed so much your journey, and I know that we've got a lot of questions about your journey. So we thought what we would do is we would start off talking about day 7, get that all out of the way, and then talk to the two of you about this journey and what it meant to you and what you didn't like, and what was your favorite, because I know you loved every challenge. We'll ask you questions like that. So let's get started with the teams leaving. As usual, the teams were getting things from their relatives, and I always think that's really, really cool when they get something from their relative. Tiffany, I think people thought that her cousin gave her that blanket, but I think she was just showing it to her.
That's what I thought.
She was just sharing it.
Yeah.
I don't know that she said, "Here, take my grandma's blanket." I don't know. So maybe she'll let us know, one way or another about that. I'm sorry?
That's my dog going crazy out there.
Oh, it's okay. No, I got a couple of those. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. No, it's fine. It's fine. So that was really, really sweet that she showed her that blanket. And it was cute that Tiffany said, well, we're going to start this in my family. That tradition is going to be ours. And of course, Kelly and Angie, I love Kelly when you said the phone is ringing. I thought we were done with this stupid phone.
I hate that. Well, she hates it more, but I really hate it too.
They didn't show a lot of me struggling with the phone. Oh my gosh, it is so hard to work. Oh, it was horrible. I hated that phone.
Well, I have to tell you.
At one point, we weren't on speaking terms. Even though we were in the car next to each other, we weren't talking to each other, and it all stemmed from that phone.
Oh, yeah. We have to hear about that.
Yeah.
I want to know about this because I hate those phones.
Well, we have said on GenFriends, joking around, that we've watched so many seasons and had so many teams come on that we want to create a tip book. We want to create a book for people that are thinking about going on Relative Race, and it's things like learn how to use a flip phone, learn how to use a map, all those kind of things. Just joking around, like we would do any better because I know that when you get onto something like that, your brain probably kind of goes because you're trying to hurry, but I know my brain would totally go. Wouldn't my brain totally go? Yes. They're all gonna go, yes.
Well, here's the thing. I remember how to text on an old phone. I mean, I'm old enough I had one of those old flip phones, but this phone, it was all in like predictive text. You know what I mean? So like you would start typing something and like a new word would pop up. And it took me a while to like realize, oh, it's in like predictive text mode, but you couldn't get it out of predictive. And then at one point it went into all caps. So I was like, Kelly, we were trying to reply to a message and it was all caps and I couldn't get out of caps. And the phone just had a mind of its own. Like it would go into predictive text and then it would go into caps. And then And you
And the
couldn't,
only way to put a space, we couldn't figure out how to put a space in between words. So we would have to put like an exclamation point or like an emoji. And we didn't know how to put a space. So it's like we're shouting and sending weird emojis to each other.
That's so funny. So then that brings me to the question, is that why there wasn't a black heart?
Yeah, there was. Yeah. Yes.
When I saw that, I thought they probably couldn't find the black heart, because that would be something
No,
that I would
in
do.
that phone, there wasn't one.
yeah, unless there was,
Yeah.
we just never.
And we had already sent it, and it's like, well, wait, maybe we should explain that there's no black heart, or put like black heart emoji in parentheses. But you know what? The producers and the people that put the show together were gonna do whatever with
Exactly.
the stuff that they had. So
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
funny. It was funny. Everybody's reaction was funny. And your reaction, do you think they noticed that there was no black heart? I love that. That was so much fun. Let's see, where we talked about oh, you know what I loved about Black Team leaving? Black Team was over that this looking down at Albuquerque, and I used to live in Albuquerque. So I know that they were looking at it from the west side, because of the mountains, as they were driving and they can't find anything, and they're saying Albuquerque isn't such a such a big thing. I'm going, no, guys, mountains to the east, volcanoes to the west. North and south runs that freeway. So it's not hard. And Carl's like, I hate Albuquerque. And I'm like, no. It's all the streets run north, south, east, and west. How could you not figure it out? Anyway, but yeah, I thought that was beautiful.
He kept hitting dead ends.
Yeah.
I think he got the east and west, north, the four directions, but he was
But he was in some of those little,
they
little
didn't go
neighborhoods.
through.
Yeah.
And so then you'd have to go
Yeah.
around.
Poor guy. And then they had to go all the way back up to Taos. So that was kind of crazy that it ended up that way. I was trying to think, did anybody else get handed something from their I don't
Well, they
think
were, so Rochelle,
yeah.
Blue team,
Father.
yeah.
it was the anniversary of
That's right.
his mom's
Mother's
death.
That's right. That's right. They did the balloons.
So they released balloons together, which I thought that was a really cool bonding
That's
kind
so
of thing
sweet.
for her to show respect for
Sweet.
his mom.
Oh yeah. And of course then Kareem could go and call his kids, because they'd won that thing. What a cool thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
didn't know he had kids. We were talking about that last week and thought, well, he doesn't.
We didn't know. We just didn't know. We hadn't
Yeah.
read it. Yeah. So we were going, who are they going to call? So anyway, that was, we wanted you guys to get it because we knew you had kids.
yeah. Well,
So
we got to
you got to
them.
call him.
Yeah.
And you got to be somebody's kid. So there you go.
And you got to be somebody's kid. Exactly. What about that baseball challenge? Oh my gosh.
Oh, that was.
Poor
Are you
Rochelle with the
Rochelle's
bad
I
lip.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But did you see her right afterwards? Was it, I mean, I know you weren't there that day and you had to go someplace else. I just didn't know if you were able to make any communication. I wondered how big and bad it
No.
actually got. Yeah.
Well, you could see on the show that
Yeah,
her
we
lip
just
was.
saw
her lip was
yeah,
like-
we didn't know.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Poor thing.
So I was live tweeting watching the show, and somebody posted, I actually went on and looked for, cures for busted lips, and realized, wait a minute, this has already been filmed. She's
Yeah.
better by now. I thought that was really, really funny because we get so involved thinking it's happening like
Mhm.
this week.
Mhm.
But yeah, so everybody left. Fabulous, fabulous relatives. Angie, you left your brother after just having met him. We've talked about this so much on the show. That's going to be so hard to walk away, especially that tight of a connection. Not that cousins aren't good. Cousins are good, but I'm just saying a brother.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Or a sister, yeah.
Yeah, anything like that would be tough.
It is, yeah. And you don't get a lot of time with them
Mhm.
because a lot of your time is taking up with like filming for the show, like filming
Yep.
interviews, and we have interviews, and then they interview the relatives, and
Yeah.
that all takes a lot of time. So,
Yeah.
and then we're so tired, and it's like, as much as you want to just hang out all night, it's like,
You got to get up the next
probably,
morning.
we had an early morning, we probably have an early morning in the next day,
Yeah.
and you don't
Yeah.
get a lot of time. So yeah,
Right.
it was hard.
And some teams seem to get a lot more time than others because their driving time is so much shorter. They don't go very far. So they actually get to spend more time. Mary, you said you got a question.
Well, actually, I have two. So they didn't tell us what your now. Well, I just came up with the second one. They didn't tell us how long your driving time was. How long did it take you to get to St. Pete?
That was a 2-day.
It took us 2 days.
Oh, it probably took longer.
Yeah. We were actually kind of lucky in a weird way that we got kicked off when we did, because my mom, for something was up with her work and she couldn't get off the very next day. So we actually drove to Daytona and had a day in Daytona at the beach, which is really nice.
Yeah.
From Daytona drove to St. Petersburg. None of that's on the show.
Of course.
So just the way the timeline fell. It was a 2 day.
It's a good thing it worked out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So my question was really about the interviews. So I have been on a couple TV shows, and it's like they say, well, could you say that again, but shorter? Did you have a lot of that? It was like, okay, you took a minute to say that, and we're really only going to give you 35 seconds. So,
Or they would want you to say something like in a different tense, like depending on the interview. And you probably notice it from watching on the show. Sometimes they want you to say something in like
you were, or
like it just, I don't know. Like if you watch the show, sometimes they want you to be like, when we were doing that, I don't tell you.
Right.
And then you interview, say 3 things in one shot. So you do the interview, we're going to our challenge and we're excited, but you're doing that interview at the end of the night.
Yeah.
You have to put it in present tense, even though it already happened.
Yeah.
Or like, oh, we think we're going to do really great on this challenge. I can't wait to see where we place. But really, in our minds, we already got a strike.
Yeah.
That's hard.
Like act it out. Like, okay, get excited again.
Sometimes I feel like I look at the teams when they're doing that, and I see it in their eyes. Their next
Yeah.
And I start going, I see something in that interview that doesn't feel quite right. So let me see. I'm trying to see if there's any more questions that people put on this.
No, but I have a question.
Okay, go ahead.
On referencing the challenges, number 1, would any of them, would you like to do over?
For fun or for competition?
Either one. Is that something you're going to incorporate into your family reunions?
For competition, I wish we could have switched spots and seen if I struggled with the chicken flinging as much.
Right.
Like there was no reason, there's no rhyme or reason to why she picked that first and I picked that. I just grabbed the bucket and she grabbed the slingshot, and I just wonder if I would have struggled with it as much as she did. I don't know. I have no idea. So
and usually they switch people back and forth. So it's too bad they didn't on that one. So you know what you were better at. Yeah.
They did it. They did us.
My favorite.
So, I have a different chicken tonight.
She's gonna. Speaking of challenges, my favorite challenge that y'all did was the food challenge, and it wasn't because you had to eat. I felt so sorry for you. That you
that was awful.
But I was there.
I cracked up at Kelly.
I felt every bit.
I cracked up at Kelly trying to make you eat that stuff. And you were getting upset, and she was trying to not be upset. And so then she starts, putting the mayonnaise jar on the mayonnaise. She's all
Mama kicked in gear and took control.
They didn't show this one specific thing, and even Dan talked about it in the Zoom meeting. And I'm surprised they didn't air it. But at one point, I turned my back to her, and I'm standing at the table like this. And the producer's like, Kelly, you need to give her pep talks or something. Try to help her, encourage her. And I'm tantruming. I have my back to her. So I turn around and I say, you know what? You can't swallow yogurt because it's too thick. So I took a spoonful of the mayonnaise and I swallowed it. And I said, I'm going to swallow this mayonnaise. You're going to swallow that yogurt. Yeah. And in the end, I came off as too hostile.
It was
beautiful. I'm like, do it. Yeah.
It was good.
Dad of young kids, it was like dinner time at the Earl house. Like, you're gonna eat that food now and you're gonna like it.
I wanted to. They wouldn't let me leave my table. I wanted to go over there and shovel it in. They said no.
Straightening up the tables, you know.
I
all awful.
But no, if we could switch, I'd probably throw up. I wouldn't do it, I don't think.
Like mine didn't taste bad. I wasn't like Kareem having to eat something with mustard.
She
Oh.
went low.
Good.
Yeah.
It was just so big, and I was just like trying to eat it best. But then they made us put like granola in it and like.
At least you didn't have
So I
mustard
had
in it.
two, and
I know, no mustard.
yeah. It was just
But
a
he
lot.
said
It
the
was a lot.
mustard was good.
That wasn't too bad.
He
Yeah.
had never had a parfait before. He had-
Yeah, that doesn't sound like a truthful statement.
No. As you're watching the shows now, I know in the past, I know they change things all the time. I know in the past, as the days come out, that's when you see really what happened to the other teams. Is that still the way it is, or so are you seeing things and going, I had no idea that even happened to them, and just as shocked as they are?
Yeah.
Pretty much. We got to spend a little time with the other teams in Utah when we were
Mhm.
doing like the promotional
Yeah.
photo shoots.
Uh-huh.
We got to talk a little bit about our experiences, but it's just there's so much that
Yeah.
happens. That, yeah, a lot of it we had no idea.
You didn't know.
No.
Well, I was kind of glad that they showed you the Kyle's 16-second because I think his throw with that baseball, because I think that if you hadn't seen that and then you saw it on the show, you would have been just like all the rest of us. You're going, what? And that was what?
Yeah.
I mean, everybody was like, holy cow, that was beginner's luck, wasn't it?
Well, even Kareem, because when Kareem eventually hit home plate,
Right.
I'm like, I have to text him and see if this was real or if it was
Yeah.
staged, because I didn't think he did it, not because he can't, but because
Yeah.
he missed so many times. And he said it was dumb luck, but he did really hit it.
I love that you
It looked
guys.
staged because it had such a high arc, and
Yeah,
then it came down, and my husband was like, "Yeah, no."
yeah,
I'd love
yeah.
to
No,
watch
he
him
said it worked. He said it was really him
Yeah.
Good.
with the glove on his hand, and he's trying to catch the ball
with
with
the
the
other hand.
ungloved hand.
Yeah.
You know what this is for?
And you know what? We can play baseball. We know how to play baseball.
Yeah, I can catch it.
Aw,
We would have done okay on that
Yeah.
challenge. but
darn.
It's easy to say that.
But
You know what I
yeah.
mean? Like
Oh,
it's
of
easy to
course.
say you think you would do good on it because I'm watching them on TV. It's different than
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely different.
Yes.
Absolutely different. We've joked around for the last year saying that we were going to come up with first of all, the tips for the teams as they're coming on. The second of all is we want to do a family reunion game book
Guidebook.
based on their relative race games. And then a certain person that named Joe Hinline said last night, why don't we put a third in the series? Because we always live tweet. He says, why don't we do a cookbook now? Because so many times, the relative race
The food.
cookbook, so many times that they are serving, family
Yeah.
recipes. So family recipes
Yeah.
from relative race would probably sell. So
yeah.
Mhm.
that would be
And
really fun.
but most of the time you have to throw things
You mean for the games? For the
for the
games?
recipes. Like
Mhm.
Yeah.
a
they
lot
were
of times
throwing
there's a lot of
ingredients.
running and throwing of ingredients.
Oh, no, we just want the family's actual
When they're
recipes.
cooking with the family.
Yeah, cooking recipes with the family, not game recipe, not that kind of recipe, Laura. Not that
That's how
kind.
I cook. I just like run and just throw things in the.
And
know.
see
That's
what
because you have
sticks.
25 kids to catch them.
That's
Right.
true. That's true. They just all open their mouths. It's like Mama Bird chucking spaghetti at them. And it lands and they just
We
eat it.
talk-
And then they gotta clean up.
We talked.
So how did
Go ahead, Shelley.
How did your hubbies, is it after the fact that they get to see it, or were they along the way, or did they see it aired just like we're seeing it? And I would love to be a fly on that wall.
They saw it in, like you guys did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's
Yeah.
cool.
Well,
That's great fun.
it would be
Yeah.
hard not to get things leaked out.
Very
I
hard. Very
I
hard.
tried to tell the BYU people that they need to be careful when
Yeah.
they've got the list of what's coming on, the TV guide. They put too much information that you can read for the next week.
Well, they were showing clips this season.
Well, I'm just saying, well, no. I mean, this is, you can tell who's going to get their third strike, who's
Mhm.
going to
Oh,
meet daddy,
yeah.
who's going to meet mommy. They
Yeah.
put too much information.
Much.
And I told them about that before, that they need to be more mysterious about that. You
Well,
know?
they're
Well,
listening. They'll listen
like the
on
preview for
Wednesday.
last night, for the preview for last night's episode, right when they started the show, they said coming up on Relative Race, and they showed Angie hugging her mom,
And
and it's like,
that
so
was
you didn't
my
even.
point. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
that upset me because not everybody knew we were meeting her mom.
Right.
You know,
Right.
it could have been.
We had
the
only
dad-
guessed. Yeah. We had only guessed.
Yeah.
We didn't know. And so,
And it
yeah.
was in the preview, you know,
Right.
it kind of made it seem like,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
know we weren't in the competition anymore,
Yeah, but
but it's
still,
kind of like
that
they gave
doesn't-
away the secret too soon because we're out of it, you know?
You
Yeah.
know,
Mhm.
I agree with you. And you know, another thing I wish they'd switch and do, because they change things all the time. I really wish that on the golden on the golden ticket day, that they would bring y'all back just for a few minutes, whoever got that golden ticket, and just let everybody know and the teams know how you finished and who you met. You know, not
Yeah.
necessarily, not time, anything like that,
Yeah.
but just who you met. I really wish that they would
Another
add that.
family reunion.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, I think people would like that.
Oh, I know people
because
would
they're
like that.
probably wondering who you got to meet. I hope it's her mom, you
Yeah.
know?
Right.
Exactly.
And you
So-
probably wanted to know who they got to meet too.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I did like the bonding through this season too. The last couple seasons, we're seeing a lot more of the teams kind of bonding together and kind of keeping up with each other. A little bit of fun, you know,
Yeah.
during the time, but again, developing friendships, you know, and things like that. So that was good to see that happening with the other teams.
Oh,
Love
yeah.
the intertexting, the message,
Oh, yeah.
the
Those
fun
are-
part on that.
Those
Yeah.
are always.
Oh,
Yes,
Yeah.
Laura.
Hey,
Yes,
Melissa, Melissa put in the chat that she has a question.
Oh, I'm sorry, Melissa. I'm so busy looking at these guys. I'm not reading the chat. Sorry.
We ask the teams that come on, how did you get on Relative Race?
Mhm.
And so how did you all, did they contact you or did you contact them or?
They found me. I had never heard of the show. I was contacted by a casting person, but the only way I think that I was contacted was like years ago. I had put my information on like adoption message boards, like
Mhm.
the few details that I know, like the day that I was born and the hospital I was born in, and like female, like, and if somebody was trying to find somebody that matched up with that, could find me. So I had my information out there. I really think that's how they found me.
Most likely.
Wow.
Most likely, yeah.
Got some good genealogists out there.
Mhm.
Mary.
Because they're not going to go fetch unless they know they can solve it
Yeah.
also.
Right.
They did
Yeah.
they did a really, really, really good job. So, and I know that they gave you the information about anybody else that you were going to meet. I don't know if you're allowed to tell us at this point if you met anybody else or.
No one's said anything about not talking about it. So I was supposed to meet a cousin on my dad's side,
Okay.
his other brother's daughter.
Okay.
And she was supposed to meet somebody.
Oh,
Oh, we didn't get to
I'll let
see
her go into
that.
Oh,
who are you
am
supposed
I
to meet?
allowed? I mean,
Well, don't say if
Well,
if you're
if the
questioning,
other
then don't
person-
say.
Well, I'm just saying if the other person knows that
We
you
got
were
a
gonna
chat
meet
box
them.
though.
We got a chat box. No, I
Yeah,
was
yeah.
gonna say, if the other person, if they were on schedule to come on the show, I don't think they gave their consent. Now, if they just
Yeah,
gave
yeah.
you, if they just gave you somebody's name and they weren't coming on the show, that would be different.
well,
I wouldn't say
yeah, I think
anything.
we can
Mama's
say-
speaking.
yeah.
We were on day 6, the day that I met Bobby,
Uh-huh.
that she was supposed to meet her cousin. But because we were striking, we had 2 strikes.
Yeah.
They switched it around and they had
Right.
me meet my brother.
Right.
And I'll let you continue because it's
Okay,
her
yeah.
relative. So
So they,
I think you can
yeah.
say it. Yeah.
So I'm sure everybody knows, like when we meet family, like we were on the East Coast.
Yeah.
Some of Angie's family is local to Berwick where we're at now. So they flew
Right.
them to a location along our journey so that we
Uh-huh.
ended up going to meet her mom.
Right.
Well, my first cousin Lena is from Texas. They had planned on flying her to Savannah, Georgia. And they gave her the option like, hey, the girls have 2 strikes. It's up to you if you want to come to Georgia or not, but chances are it's not going to, you aren't going to get to meet them, and it's not going to be a part of the show. So on day 7, when we're in the park with Bobby, it shows there's a picture of her, me and Bobby at the fountain. They said, just, you know, talk, whatever, just hang out a little bit and get to know each other, and then we'll leave for Daytona. And this woman comes up to me and taps me on the shoulder, and she goes, what are you guys doing, a TV show? I said, yeah, it's relative race. I said, we're Team Green. And she goes, you know, I like the color green. And she says, by the way, Kelly, I'm your first cousin, Lena. And I was just, and I could show you pictures. I don't know if you can upload them on the thing, and it won't air because, you know, she was flown to the location because she wasn't on that side of the country, and she still agreed to be a part of it. Yeah. She was the only one out of my side that did agree to be a part of it, because I guess when I was young, before I was even born, because my cousin Lena was 18 when I was born. So I never met those cousins because of the age gap. Yeah. And she moved away to college, and I always hear my uncle talk about his kids, but they're grown, you know, so I never met them. And she agreed to be on the show, and it didn't air. And I don't know if they'll do any, like, you know, behind the scenes stuff with it.
And they might.
They might, but yeah, I did get to meet her, and we all went out to lunch because there was no rush anymore, you know. So I did get to meet a cousin of mine.
That's wonderful.
That's cool.
That's great.
That's so fun. Boy, I'm so sad we missed that.
Yeah.
So speaking of Bobby though, I have a question. Was it, I imagine that it was somehow a comfort if you had to get your 3rd strike, that it was with your brother.
Yeah.
Is that how it was for you, or?
Yeah, because, you know, meeting him was huge. I mean, it was like, I found out on like day 2 or something that I had a brother. So getting to meet him and getting to spend time with him, it was awesome. You know, we hated to be the first ones kicked off the show. Like, that was not, that was not what we had hoped for. But yes, it was.
He's cool.
Yeah.
Bobby's cool.
It was a good day.
You look cool. They look like a good vibe between the 2 of you.
Yeah.
I think you're going to get along.
Yeah, we text like all the time. Good. We send each other goofy memes and stuff.
Oh, good.
Oh, that's so cool.
Go ahead, Mary.
Well, I had a question about when you met your mom, and I don't know, she said, and I don't remember exactly what it was that she said, but something, I'm sure you want to know more about your dad and I, or something like that, and come in the house and I'll tell you. But she didn't really tell you, we didn't see her tell you very much about him. Did she tell you more? You don't have to answer if you can't answer.
I did. It was just kind of a bad situation. You know, I mean, I'll kind of leave it at that. I don't want to bash anybody. But it was just a bad situation, and it was you know, it was a hard decision for her to give me up for adoption, but it was a good decision.
It's a good decision. Yeah.
Do you think she feels less, she seemed very guilt-ridden when she met you. Do you think she feels better now?
Oh, yeah.
So that was healing for her as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure they did air it on the show, but I mean, she said like her biggest fear in life would be dying without ever meeting me. So yeah, it was very healing for her.
And how about that picture the nurse gave her, and that she and she got you a copy that looked beautiful. Was it?
Yeah, I have a copy of it.
It's beautiful,
like blown up big.
Yeah,
that's
and she was putting it on Facebook, you know, since 2012.
Yeah.
That had to just, I can't even imagine those emotions, especially when you want to know, you know, did they care about me? Did they think about me? Well, definitely, you know, it wasn't a day that went by, but she did seem very, very guilt-ridden. And so it had to be healing for her to meet you and see that you had had a good life, that you weren't doing this because you had a bad life and were seeking, you know, you were just looking for some answers, you know. So I think that is going to be one of those things that's going to heal her and help
Yeah.
her move forward and get past that hurt. Because she kept saying, I should have been there. I should have been there. I should have been
Right.
there. And I'm sitting back there saying, it's okay. You couldn't be there. Somebody else was there and now you're there, you know, when you can be there. So I felt real bad for her. I wanted to go through the screen and
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, you know, everything that happens is meant to be, you know, for whatever reason, this was meant to happen at this time. I don't know, you know, it just was. I was meant to be where I was growing up, and this was meant to happen now. And I think it was really like, how brave she was to all those years talk about me and put it on Facebook, like, you know, this daughter that she had given up for adoption all these years ago.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
people can be judgmental about that. So
Oh,
that was
yeah.
super brave.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't imagine. I'm hoping that she got nothing but positive comments from people to help her get through that time, you know.
Yeah.
It'd be so hard. Mary?
Yeah, it just occurred to me, did she well, and I don't know whether you know, whether she posted them just to her friends list or publicly, because I wonder about an adoptee, if that's a thing that you could go out and look on Facebook, search on Facebook just on your birthday to see if anybody's posting
Anybody's
about.
posting a picture that might look like you in an area where
Yeah,
you
or that they, you know, that they gave up a child on.
There is one other thing that's not on the show.
Oh,
And
okay.
I think it's okay that I talk about it. I had a different name, and they searched for me
Right.
using the name that they gave me, that she
Right.
gave me when I was born. But
Yeah,
obviously my name changed.
exactly.
but
Exactly.
So she searched for the name that she gave me, which was
Mhm.
Dina.
Mhm.
I was named after her best friend at the time.
Oh,
And in those messages, they edited it to look like it said Angie, but really it was saying like, happy birthday, Dina, my daughter, Dina. So that's just like another thing. I think the show just didn't have time to go into the
No.
details about
Yeah.
having a different name and all that stuff.
Yeah.
and that's typical for adoptive kids. I've got adopted kids, and all their names are different than were, and most of them are for safety reasons, you know, so people can't find them. They don't need to be found at this point, but and that's very, very typical, and there's lots of different reasons why people do that. So so I think a lot of times they don't think about that. Oh, they may have changed her name or his name, and that's a brick wall they keep coming up to. So instead, look for babies of that gender born around the same time of where you gave birth, and just search them all and see if you can find them. So let's before we talk more about meeting your mom and getting into results and things like that, I just wanted to talk about I want to talk about Team Black getting to meet Layton's uncle. So we're getting closer to the brother, right? I mean, her father, right? We're
Her
getting closer
dad.
to her father.
But
So
they're just really drawing it out.
I know they're getting closer to Brian. I hope she gets to meet him. Yeah, but they had a fun time with the uncle, and the uncle was so Sean. He took him out shooting, and isn't it interesting that they both served the military and they both started out in the same place, so together. So I think that's really kind of cool. But yeah, I think she's getting close. She's getting close. But you know, it better be close, because I think we're all going to be mad. So we all want to see that reunion.
What's that, Dan?
So am I the only one that would have been just a little bit suspicious? I mean, you meet a guy for the first time who claims to be your uncle, and he says, let's go out in the middle of the desert. I've got a bunch of guns. I've seen movies that have started that way, and it usually ends up with people dead. Like that guy's not your uncle. He's a collector, you know, like, he's trying to collect people.
And
like,
they were out in the middle of New Mexico.
Safety of the camera crew.
Yeah.
They're in on it. Or if this whole thing,
they're in on it. Oh gosh.
like, I want to see some ID. Like, I would be like, telling the producer, like, I need to send a
And
text.
assault rifles, not pistols, assault rifles.
Right?
Oh gosh.
Based on some of the explosions that were happening back there, some of those were probably hollow points. Like, those are like high-end stuff. That wasn't like just like, oh yeah, we're gonna go shoot a BB gun in the backyard at some paper targets.
Well, he said he was a sniper.
Yeah.
Oh, he knows what he's doing.
Yeah, exactly. He just gets on top of that berm. He
And
can watch
Leighton
it run away
was
for
good.
30 days before he
Elaine was
shoots.
good.
Like,
She
that's,
was good.
Mhm.
It was
Yeah.
good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they both were pretty good.
yeah, they both were really good. Yeah.
Yeah,
Good show.
yeah. And then Rochelle gets another sister, so that was wonderful.
Yes. Mhm.
And she usurped the baby sister position in the family. So,
You know, I had a question about that. You know, they came up
Yeah.
on a wreck.
Right.
They're
yes.
driving.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I don't know if we've asked this question before, but I think they stop the time something with that.
Oh,
No,
No, they
don't.
don't. Okay. I
No.
couldn't
It's just
remember.
part of your day. It's just part of your day.
yeah.
Yeah, we
I
hit.
don't
we
think
hit
that's
traffic,
fair.
and that's the reason why we came in third on like day 2 is when we were driving
Yeah.
from Syracuse to Lewisburg. The day that I drove, because I was just like, well, I just know how to get there, so I'll just drive. We hit traffic around Scranton, and it was about 20 minutes of traffic.
Yeah.
And if we hadn't hit that traffic, we would have been in second place. We would have won, but we would have been second.
Darn it. Well,
Yeah.
and I guess how would they say, okay, if it's a wreck, if it's a complete wreck, you know, somebody's crashed on the road, maybe it will give you a little bit of time, not the whole time, but how do they say, okay, well, this one wasn't a wreck, this was traffic. So I guess you just kind of have to just let it go and just say it was what happened on your day.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Maybe you'll have better luck during the game
I
portion.
think it would be really upsetting if that made someone get their third strike.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some
That
of the
is-
challenges, there could be a windy thing. You're trying to throw the
Yeah.
ball and it gets off
So it's all the
course.
same, right?
Yeah.
Yep. It's all the
It's
same.
whatever.
It just whatever happens on that day.
Yeah.
Well, that
I
puts in
felt
perspective,
so
too.
sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Dan.
Well, it puts in perspective too, like how lost Team Black was in the morning before the event, right? Because it made it look like Team Blue was like sitting there for hours, like it was like some REM video. They're all getting out of their cars, and walking around, you know, like everybody hurts sometimes, and it's like, but it was probably like 20 minutes, and then and then here you've got Leighton's driving around, they're lost for probably 25 or 30 minutes, but that's the magic of TV,
Right.
Yeah.
There was a
Right.
lot of editing because they made it look like Tiffany and Jose were trying to find that house for hours.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
And yet they came
Yeah.
in first.
Hats
So
off to the editors.
Yeah.
on this one.
I think they do it to throw off the people who are
Yeah.
watching the program, because you think, oh, okay, well, they're definitely gonna have a problem, and then
Yeah.
they don't.
And then they don't.
It was
Yeah.
only like 11 minutes different between
Right.
first and third place.
Right.
So all the
Yeah.
trouble that Team Blue had
Yeah.
in the challenge
Catching the
Yeah.
baseball
really
with the
didn't amount to
mound,
all
like,
that
getting, like,
much.
medical
Yeah.
care. Yeah, like that's.
I
That
do
seems
hope they
like-
stop. I do hope they stop the time after she got hit.
They
in the mouth.
probably did when she got hit.
Poor thing.
Because remember,
Oh,
one
yeah,
of
I'm
the
sure they
crew
did.
people walked over there, was
Yeah.
standing
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
So Angie and Kelly, did you have any accidents? Were you guys okay? Or, like ankles twisted or?
On day 1, I did get a little bit of a bloody lip in the car.
in the
How did
car,
that happen? I was drinking. And
Well, see,
I-
what were
I-
you
I was
drinking?
heavy on the brakes, yeah.
braked or went in reverse or something, and I hit
Oh.
my lip on the
Yeah.
cup, and it was a
Oh.
good lip, but not
Oh,
nearly
that
as swollen as Rochelle's was. But
Yeah.
Okay.
that was my only
Yeah.
injury that I can remember.
so this would be a good time to tell us about the incident in the car that involved you two not speaking.
Yes.
Oh. Well, they want you to talk, like they want you to chit chat. They prompt you over the microphone. Why don't you talk about this? Why don't you talk about that? Like, to keep the viewers interested. And what were she was annoyed with the phone. So then she slammed the phone shut, threw it in the glove box. And what, were you going to take a nap? I think you were going to take a nap. And I just kept talking, and
Well, I think I was still
Yeah.
trying to figure the phone out or something, and I was just like, Kelly, I need you to stop talking for 5 minutes. And like
I
didn't
went
mean
like
it,
this.
like I said, well,
And
I'm
then-
trying to concentrate.
Yeah.
That's what I meant. And then it just got taken off.
Well, I said out loud, because we have our microphones on, I said, I'm not talking anymore. Angie wants me to stop talking. So I didn't talk. I refused to talk, and then we got to wait,
It was Syracuse.
and then we got not in trouble. But
Melissa,
they
is there
said,
anything that
girls,
you
need
want
to work it
to,
out.
ask before you go? Melissa's got to jump out, so let's go see. Are you okay? Okay.
It's great to meet you guys, but I've got to go.
You too.
Nice meeting you.
Good luck.
Melissa. She wanted to sneak out, but I thought, oh, what if she wants to, question us? So
yeah.
She's going to do a great presentation.
She is. She's some lucky people get to hear her speak. So,
so Kelly was saying you got in trouble or you got fussed
Like
at?
they said, you girls got to snap out of it. Like, don't live in your heads. And it's like, at what? Yeah, it was. Yeah, that was on day one.
Was like,
Yeah.
we had to say our piece. We had to get it out, and we got over it.
Yeah.
Thankfully, none of it's on the show.
Oh yeah.
Somebody has this
Yeah.
footage
Yeah.
of us.
Yeah. Yeah.
oh,
So
gosh.
how is the relationship now after doing that trip?
It's good. It's,
We're
yeah.
different. Like we were, best buddies before. We're
Yeah.
still best buddies.
And they're still
Yeah, we
talking
went
and
through
smiling
like
at each other.
something
Still
that nobody
family.
knows,
No matter what, you're still family.
So fun. So fun. Let's talk about the results from day 7. Goodness gracious, what a wonderful prize for winning day 7. You get to move up no matter where you come
Yeah,
in.
you're safe. You
safe.
automatically go to day 10
yeah.
if you, yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
Team Red's automatically to day 10.
Yeah.
So the ones we gotta, and who we gotta really worry about is Team Blue, but they've got a golden ticket, so they will meet. So everybody will meet all of their relatives, every one of them.
Well,
because
maybe
of-
not all, but at least.
No, they went. Well, all the ones that are supposed to be on the show, they'll all make it.
Oh,
and you
yeah,
sit in
on
line.
the show.
Yeah, because of those golden tickets. So those are the best things that ever got invented.
So
for us.
could they connive? Like, could Red purposely lose day 8?
Take the
Then
second.
they wouldn't get a strike. No, then they would have, then Team Black would have to connive too.
They don't have to connive together to figure out to get them all to day
To get
10.
all of them to day 10.
Well, that's kind of like we were saying how they didn't use their penalties.
Right.
And I get why, and I feel the same way, let everybody have a fair shot. But when the penalty is given, say Team Red, they're doing so well. You put a penalty on them and then they get a strike. And
Yeah.
Team Green moves forward another day. Whereas not using the penalty, none of the good teams were targeted in a way.
Yeah.
So we were
Yeah.
consistently in the bottom.
Yeah.
And maybe if somebody got a strike because they had a penalty, Team
Yeah.
Green would have been another day.
The one penalty was being blindfolded while you're doing your city selfie. And
Yes.
that would be like impossible. I mean, you know what I mean?
Oh,
Like they'd be there for an hour. Like whoever got the penalty that day would have been last. And I know that it
Yeah.
fell on the day that we got a strike.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah. I
Yeah.
see what you mean. And there's been some talk, the fans have been talking about whether they'll ever do those types of penalties anymore, because who wants to be the first team to give it out now?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So if it's just going to become this moot point where they just keep saying, no, we're not going to give it out. What's the
But
point?
as you say, they said,
Yeah.
we don't want to be the team that's responsible for somebody getting a strike, but
Yeah.
they were.
Yeah, but they were.
Ultimately, yeah.
Yeah.
Also,
Not, they
yeah.
didn't give somebody a strike, but they're still responsible for
Mhm.
Yeah.
somebody.
Yeah,
getting
it's
a strike.
it's almost like a penalty for winning. It's not a strike, but either way, you've got this huge burden on you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, and it's relative race. It's not Survivor,
Like it would be cool if it was a reward. Like you remember in the beginning, they gave out like coins or flags.
Yes.
And it added up to day 10. Like
Yes,
that
like
would
a
be
benefit
good.
on day
Yeah,
10.
a
Yeah,
Yeah,
benefit.
they haven't done one of those for a while. So yeah, they need to reinstitute that, because that seems like a better
Yeah.
way, because you don't want to do something where the teams
No.
feel any bit of
Right.
Yeah.
conflict or anything with each other. So maybe they'll go back to that on season 10. We're hoping they do a lot of different things on season 10. We want all the teams back on season 10. That's what we want.
That would be cool.
10
Maybe
10
that
should
would be
be
fun.
interesting.
But
I
they
always
don't-
forget-
Sometimes they listen to us, but most time not. Many times not. So as we go down through who came in first and who gets that incredible reward of not having to, wherever you, not having to, I guess, get kicked off. Nobody can get kicked off, but if you've got that reward, you go up the next, whatever the results are,
Right.
you move up a level. And so it was Team Red that came in with that. So they get that. And I just, you know what, we didn't talk about Jose meeting his his cousin. That was the sweetest thing. He was so sweet, you know, he loved that so much.
Yeah.
And they had that picture from the late 1800s. which
They
was
had that scroll of a family tree.
The scroll,
yeah.
the food. I
And
would
the
have loved to
food.
have been sitting at that table eating.
Me too. Me too.
Yeah.
That looks so, and how fun. And so Kelly, I'm so sad that we didn't get to see that for you, because we would have been just as thrilled. We're always just as thrilled with whichever, you know, and it's when it's somebody that you don't expect to meet a relative, it's even more fun, you know.
Yeah,
So,
I wish it would have worked out, but I understand why,
yeah.
because it lets, you know, the viewers kind of puzzle, you know, you get puzzled like, well, wait, why is she here? You know, how did this
Right.
all work out? And they took a chance, you know, they thought, you know what, maybe the girls will do good and I will get to meet them. So
Yeah.
yeah. And
But
you
it
know,
got
with
to
the whole
Pasadena.
relative race cookbook thing, the relative race cookbook, my cousin Rina's Korean.
Oh, all right. See, relative
Yeah.
race. We need a cookbook.
Yeah.
we need a cookbook. So we'll have to talk to them about putting that together. That would be really
Uh-huh.
funny if they would let us do it. That would be really funny. And our family reunion. We've been talking about the family reunion game book, probably
Yeah.
since season 2. So.
So the chickens would definitely be in the
That
family.
would be one.
Oh, that's right. Those
I'm not
chickens.
sure which other ones I would have. I think that was the best one of the season.
I don't
This-
think I would.
That was a lot of
include
fun though.
the-
It was
I'm
fun.
sure it was a lot of fun. And why is it that Kyle was the only person that thought to take a chicken?
Yeah, they didn't think about
I
it.
don't know.
See, now they've got the chickmobile and everything. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't even want one as a souvenir. I have it in my head that if Angie would have started it, because I never played with a slingshot, and I have brothers, I just thought, how hard is this going to be? But I just didn't know to unwind it. I mean, you guys saw how I thought I was doing something wrong with the chicken, so I tied it in I tied his legs together
I
in a
thought
knot
that
and I
was,
shot.
I thought
yeah.
that was
We
good.
thought it
tip.
was smart
Yeah.
because he made it a little bit heavier and maybe.
I don't know. I tried everything I could,
Reducing
but I think
drag,
it
that was
went first.
smart. That wasn't dumb. It was good physics principles in that.
Yes, there was. And that's what I wish we would have had, like challenges that would test like our smarts and like
Yeah.
critical thinking skills and trivia, charades. Like we actually have our own language that we taught because of
Oh my
charades.
gosh.
And we practice like stuff like that. Like charades, we would have been awesome.
Yeah.
That's a good one. I hope they're listening when this airs, but the
Yeah.
charades would be something hilarious.
Yeah.
You know how we talked about how we prepped for the show? I guess whenever they asked us about that, like we kind of blanked out because I know I talked about how I practiced using a map and we talked about we took
binoculars.
We did other things. We did all these other things that I guess we just blanked out and didn't think about. We went rock climbing. We went rock climbing twice. We went to an escape room. We practiced basketball. We went to a gym, and our challenge, we were like, okay, our challenge is we have to make 20 baskets each, and we can't leave the gym until we make 20 baskets.
Brutal.
We did, I'm going blank again. We did other things.
Oh, we did a lot.
We did charades.
Yeah.
We like studied charades and like learned all the
You
rules and
like
so, but none of
we
the
had the whole language down.
None of the
gosh.
prepared for. Really
Yeah, I wish
helped
there
us.
was more like day one, that challenge, as wonderful as it wasn't fair, but it was a great thing.
Mhm.
And then day two was upper body shooting.
Right.
Day three was shooting water gun, like a lot of physical right off the bat.
Mhm.
And I wish it would have been more even.
Yeah.
You know, like something that like food tasting,
Right.
you know, like what, or smelling something, you know,
Yeah.
something that's even for everybody of all
Yeah,
Or, you know,
Maybe a mixture through whatever they're going to do, make a mixture, because they do say that those, they haven't started, I don't think, with season 10 yet, filming it, but they already know what games they're going to play. They don't
Yeah.
even know, they're not even sure what 4 teams are going to be cast. So they don't
Yeah.
look at it and say, okay, we've got these people and these people. We've just found these 8, 9 games that we want people to play. And so that's what becomes difficult. And then you come in with a team that maybe you see as a disadvantage. And so I guess what they then hope is that you'll have an advantage someplace else. Maybe you're better at reading a map, or maybe you're better, you'll have better luck driving.
Yeah.
That's the only
Yeah.
thing I can think of, because
Yeah,
unless
but
it's said, okay, we need to have X amount of brain ones, we have X amount of,
Right.
whatever it might be. So
But then they did the project this time.
yeah, that
You
was
know,
so cool.
So that was so cool. And that was a first,
Mhm.
that, because I've watched since season 1, day 1, basically, but that was really cool.
I loved
It
that.
was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And of course, I wanted to just hug you, Kelly. So,
Yes.
Yeah.
but it was cool. It was
So
cool.
did
Giving
that
back.
count in your time? How long you spent on
Oh,
that?
for that
in
day.
a lot of time.
There was more that they didn't air. Like we,
There was 2 more things we had to
Yeah,
do before
we had to each
Oh.
install a security camera on a corner of the house,
Mm.
and which required us to get on ladders. And by the time, like, I don't know if you noticed, by the time we finished the challenge, we
Mhm.
were soaking wet because
Yes.
it was
Yeah,
over
yeah.
2 hours that we were doing things.
Mhm.
And you had to install a security camera, and you had to screw on the stenciling to the house. Like, I forget what the address was, but there was more to what they showed because they wanted us to do as much as we could while we were there. So it meant a lot. But at one point, like, it was pouring, we were
Mhm.
trying to finish. So it was actually well over 2 hours,
Yeah.
that the entire challenge,
Yeah.
Wow.
But the other teams that finished earlier and got to go, I mean,
Yeah.
were you like an hour behind them?
We
So
were
you-
like 2, I think an hour and a half or something.
but did that impact that you're allotted time for the day? Were you
Well, we
penalized
went over our
because
allotted time.
We went over
Yeah.
our allotted
because
Like,
of
I
the
think
challenge?
they gave you so much. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
yeah, I think it would be fun to see them kind of design some of the challenges so that there's not a physicality advantage.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
agree.
like if you have a handicap in any way, like, and I get, there are going to be physical, there's going to be mental challenges.
We don't
yeah,
have to
yeah,
do challenges.
yeah.
I mean, like I said, like we did rock climbing, we practiced basket, we practiced shooting. I mean, we practiced a lot of things.
And if it
Just-
was like a physical and then like a mind game,
Yeah.
a physical
Yeah.
and a mind game, but not 4 physicals. And I mean,
Right.
there were puzzles thrown in there, and they didn't show you guys, like on the 2 challenges where we had puzzles, like it looked like we struggled. We finished that one puzzle in less than a minute. And then the one with the flower, every piece that we put in went right in. It was dumb luck.
Yeah.
But we finished that puzzle in probably less than 30 seconds.
Wow.
And they don't show, like, it was hard. Like, it was physical and it was a puzzle. Like,
Mhm.
I wish it was one or the other to give us like an advantage, like, oh, Team Green trivia, like, oh wow, they know everything about the Civil War. They got first place that day.
You know, you just reminded me of something. We totally messed up on the one puzzle. We reconnected all
yeah.
the pieces instead of just crawling under the thing.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Believe me, we all were yelling at you.
We were yelling at you.
Go under the table. Yeah. I don't know.
It's
The other team just crawled under the table. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
I just can't even imagine. You're under so much pressure to hurry,
Yeah.
get things
You don't
done,
think,
emotional.
like,
Who are you
yeah.
going to meet?
Yeah.
So, you cannot held anything that you do on relative race. It cannot be held over you because you're in a very stressful situation.
Yeah.
And lack of sleep and
Lack of
different
sleep.
foods
Oh, yeah.
and the whole bit. Yeah.
Yes.
And you don't eat like you should, you get
Yeah.
like 5 minutes to eat a sandwich. And then it's like, okay, we got to film this interview. We got to film that interview. And then we finally get to our relative and, you have to film like walking up to the house like 2 or 3 times because say you trip over the curb or whatever it may be.
And they want like a
And then,
behind
yeah.
shot, like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
those shots where you see like my face and then their face. It's because we're reenacting it. They're shooting the camera this
Wouldn't
Yeah.
it be cool to see all the
Yeah.
bloopers?
So,
Yeah, that
Oh,
would be
there's
funny.
probably a lot of bloopers.
oh yeah.
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 Now,
So-
Kelly, oh, go ahead, Laura, and then I just want to ask Kelly something. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was going to say that Shelley had put in the chat a good question for us to end with, but if you have something else first.
Yeah.
Oh, well, what I wanted to give Kelly a shout out for giving Joe Henline a shout out.
Yeah, I love him.
Yeah.
I do too. I live tweet with him
Yeah.
every
Yeah.
Sunday night, and he's been on the show a couple of times. And
Yeah.
yeah, that was hysterically
Hilarious.
funny to talk about going in that car wash because
I'm glad
immediately
they aired it, you know?
Yeah, I tweeted to him. I said,
Yeah.
was that directed at you? And he says, yes.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
I thought that was
Yeah,
really
he messaged me on Facebook that night and he said, I see what you did there.
yeah, exactly. We were all laughing. We caught that. Those of us that
Yeah.
have watched the show for
Yeah.
a long time, we caught that. We knew exactly who you were talking about. So I
Uh-huh.
saw what you did there too. So,
And they got voted, they got eliminated early on their
Pretty
season,
early,
right?
too.
Like episode 7 or 8, I think.
something like that.
I think-
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
something like that. Season.
And JD and Jen.
Yes, JD and Jen.
Yeah,
JD and Jen. Yes. Yeah. And
Yeah.
I think is that the season, the very first golden ticket season? I think it may have been.
I think it was.
I think it was, yeah.
And I think they were the first team that was able to use it. So that was really
And
great.
did they use it in Salt Lake
Yep.
City? Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Or
yeah.
in the area?
Yeah. Because they basically stayed there the whole time. Remember, they were going past
Yeah.
freeway exits that would take them home during their. It was really funny. It was really
Yeah.
funny. So one last question that we would like to ask you. First of all, though, is there anything about the season that we didn't talk about that you would like for us to know?
Well, I did prepare something for you.
That's right.
yeah.
You did prepare. You did it. We
Yeah,
almost
I
we
really
almost
thought you
forgot all
guys-
about it. We almost
I really
forgot all
thought
about
you
it.
guys would really like this. So I'm going to share the screen and I just want to
Please.
show the resemblance between my son and my father. It's crazy. They look so much alike. I mean, I have a daughter too. She resembles my husband. She takes after my husband's side, but my son takes after
You would think
my
it's
side.
the same
like,
person.
so I'm going to share my screen so I
Okay.
can show
Excited.
what I prepared for you here. Wait, share.
Here it comes.
So
Oh,
can you see?
Wow.
So you can see this over to
It
the
looks like the same person.
right of the screen is my son, CJ. Now these pictures are a few years old. Over to the left is my biological father, Jim. I mean, I just think the resemblance is just,
It is
Yeah.
crazy.
and I wanted to show that to you guys.
That is
Love
crazy.
it.
We appreciate that. And I was saying that she's the first team member that's brought us a PowerPoint or show and tell.
Very
So-
first.
You're the very
Works in
first.
IT. She works in IT.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I gotcha. That's too
I have too
funny.
much time on my hands.
Oh, but you're good at putting things together and
Yeah.
that's what we should have done on the show. Creative.
Not a bad idea.
That's too funny. Well, we would like to end by asking you what your advice would be to someone who's interested in being on the show.
That's a good question. I'm trying to think. I mean, it's hard, it's hard
Yeah.
going into it. It's going to be hard. I think it's harder than what you think it's going to be. You're only seeing such a tiny little fraction of our day.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You film for 10, 12 hours and you're seeing
Oh,
an hour
my.
show that's cut up between 4 teams.
Yeah.
There's
Right.
so much that you don't see, and it's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard.
It's hard to be away from your family.
It's hard to be away from your family.
Yeah. And you have no alone time except if you're in the
Mhm.
bathroom or peeing in the woods in a parking lot.
Yeah.
And I don't think we were alone because there was a fence and a freeway behind it, but we had to go. So you're usually with a bunch of people, whether it be the camera crew, your new family.
Right,
like,
right.
and we slept in the same room, you know, like
Mhm.
you have no alone time,
Yeah.
with the exception of a 5-minute shower.
Yeah.
But advice, I mean, you know, I mean, as much as we tried to prepare,
You can't
you
prepare.
can't prepare.
No.
I
Use a map, figure out how to work a map though.
practice working a map, practice navigating.
Mm.
We knew right away that she was going to be the driver and I was going to be the navigator. I don't get car sick.
I get car sick, yeah.
So we practiced. We took 2 different days and we went to 2 different towns in Pennsylvania.
This is a great idea.
That were
Yeah.
like 2.5 hours away, and we just mapped it out
Yeah.
and got there using a map.
Yeah.
I mean, that I think was huge because I felt like, okay, I know how to do this. I know how to use a
Yeah.
map.
And I drove her car and she drove mine because you're not driving your own car on this
No.
show.
Right.
You're driving this tiny little, you should see the bruises on our legs. Well, not anymore. This was months ago. Because you jump into the car so fast, bang your knee off the dashboard.
Yeah.
We were so bruised. I mean, I don't know if the other teams were, but we were.
Well, I'm thinking about putting on our
Kareem,
tip.
I don't know how Kareem sat in that car.
Oh gosh, I don't know how he sat in that car either. I'd wondered about
Yeah.
that.
Oh, yeah,
That's, he has to be all the way back.
Yeah.
but yeah, advice. Just, I mean, if you get the opportunity, take it.
Yeah.
Make it.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, thank y'all for coming on.
Yeah.
It's
Thanks for
great to
having
meet
us.
you
We
guys.
sure
I'm so
appreciate
happy
it.
for
Yeah.
both of you,
Yeah.
you know?
And you know, I'm Angie, I'm so excited for the people that you touched. And I was going to say,
Yeah.
one of the things from last night that I wanted to make sure I told you was that they filmed your meeting of your biological mother so beautifully.
Oh, thank you.
I
They
really,
really did. Yeah.
they
Crying.
Oh,
Yeah.
they really did. It was beautiful, and the
Yeah.
song they used, and I mean everything, the
good.
cinematography, everything was just,
Yeah.
it was just beautiful. It was done so well.
These
The
guys
crew
all
is-
cry. Oh,
They're
I don't.
super talented people.
Yeah.
The
Yeah, they
photographers and the producers, they're great. They're so good at their jobs.
Like what they told us is they said, you know, you guys gotta run up to her like you're in a hurry to meet her. And we
Mhm.
get out of the car and Barb started walking to her first. Like, even though they wanted us to make the initiative, you couldn't keep her standing
Oh
in that.
no! Oh no!
Once we pulled up, I'm sure she was on her toes, you know?
Oh, absolutely.
That's so
Absolutely.
cool.
Mhm.
Just so, yeah. I just didn't want to leave you without saying that, how beautiful I thought that was, and what a treasure you've got.
Tell them they were just up for in January.
Yeah, I'm gonna put pictures on Facebook.
Oh, good. Okay.
Around to it yet, but yeah, they were up here in January. My mom and brother are from Florida. They were up here in January. They're gonna come up again for my birthday in July,
Good.
Oh,
and then we are going to go down there January of next year,
Yeah.
state Pennsylvania, and go down to Florida.
Yeah. Now,
So,
have
yeah,
you been introduced to each other, your adopted family and your biological family, and how did that go?
it went good. They were up here, so they were up here in January for my kids' birthdays, because my kids' birthdays are really close.
Okay.
And they met my adopted mom and my adopted sister.
Yeah.
And they met an aunt that I have, and it's crazy. I mean, we're also from the same area, so it's like
Amazing.
it's wild. I mean, my adopted mom and my biological mom grew up in the same town, and it's insane. It's crazy. So
wow.
yeah,
Oh,
they got
that's
to meet and talk, and it was really good. It's awesome.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's super.
I'm glad.
Well, I'm gonna throw kudos to Angie for coming with you. I don't know.
Kelly for
Kelly, I'm sorry.
coming.
For Kelly for coming with you
Yeah.
on that journey. You know, I don't have a sister, you know, and I know your sister knows, but I grew up with 4 brothers. So to have somebody, you know, to go on that journey with you, I think that's pretty special too.
It was supposed to be my husband. It was actually supposed to be my husband, but
Yeah.
he took a new job like right before the filming and he couldn't do it. So I asked if I could substitute her in, and you know, she gave up her life. She gave up being
Yeah.
with her kid. and her
Yes.
husband, and the beginning stages of her home that she's building.
Yeah,
Right.
I came home to a house that, well, I didn't have a house. I live with our in-laws. I'm in my new house now. See what I'm saying? Like, we're going back to the past, talking about this. I have my own home now.
Yay.
Awesome.
We started filming in October. The same day they were starting on my house, doing the excavating, the building. And I'm like, okay, they're going to confiscate our phones. My husband is in charge of this whole project.
Oh dear.
You're not there.
It went smooth, but I was so nervous, like to be away from building my new home.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
you know, my 3-year-old,
That was-
you know.
Yeah, it was huge.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kelly.
Well,
You're welcome.
you know, I not to say it wouldn't have been good with your husband, but I think the dynamics between the
It
two
would
of
have
The
you.
been
dynamics
so much
were
different.
wonderful.
Oh my gosh, it was so good.
Had more fun, I think, than my husband and I would have. And even though we had our little argument that one
Yeah.
day, I think Chris and I would
Yeah.
have like had an argument.
I've driven with my husband. Yes.
Now, Mary, you were going to say one thing about crying.
Okay. These guys
Oh,
are
yes.
all criers. I'm generally not a crier. I
Not
cried
much.
last night. I'll tell you.
Yeah.
How could you
Aw.
not? How could you not? It was a beautiful episode, and I'm so grateful for those golden tickets, because who would have wanted to miss that? That was
Yeah.
beautiful. But you know, thank you for sharing your story, because it's got to be difficult to be doing all that emotion on camera. Take two, that, you know, we got to do it again. That's got to be so difficult with all those emotions and those fears of, they say they found people. Did they really? You know, who is it going to be? Is this going to be a good journey for me? I know almost every season, Dan will come talk to us about the next season, and he always says, the
Not
other
you,
Dan,
Dan.
not you, Dan, the other Dan. He'll come on and he'll talk to us, and he always says, as good as last season's was, this next one is even better. And so
Yes.
that's what he told us about season 9. And we were like, yeah, you know, how could it? But yeah, I mean, it just,
Yeah.
you
And
know,
it has been.
yeah,
It has.
yeah.
It's been just as
Well, from
good,
day
if not
one, what
better.
they did with day one,
Yeah.
they can't, I don't think
Yes.
they'll ever be able to top that.
Oh, I
Yeah.
don't either. And I would love to see, where each challenge was some type of giving back.
Public
some-
service,
That's
yeah.
what we thought
Yeah.
it was going to be.
I
Yeah.
think that
Yeah.
would be
That's what
awesome.
we thought when he said, you know,
Yeah.
the season is going to be about service. We thought, oh, every challenge is
That
going
would
to
have
be
been-
something where we are building
Yeah.
something for community or something. So
Yeah,
maybe
that
that's
would have been amazing. That would have been amazing. if
Or
they
like
would-
working in like a soup kitchen, you know, you
Yeah.
have to
Yes.
prepare,
so many
you have to
meals.
prepare 100 meals. Whoever does it the fastest moves forward,
Yeah,
or, you know, whatever.
exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I agree. I think that
Or
would be-
take or like a CPR course, or like learn how to put out a fire. I don't know.
Yeah.
Wow.
I
I
could put
agree.
out, I've learned working in healthcare. Well, yeah, I just gave all my skills away. I
Yeah, you
CPR,
would do
I do
CPR.
first aid. And then it would be
and
rigged in my favor, so that's.
it would be rigged in your favor. Tell them you want to redo.
Yeah. Yes.
We'll go in the PowerPoint.
And a PowerPoint. You could do a first aid and CPR, basic survivals in PowerPoint form.
All right, that sounds.
Yeah. But
That
if
sounds
you need to use a power drill, we don't know how to do PowerPoint for that.
I would have
Yeah.
been terrible with that too. I would have been so bad.
I forgot how to do it already. I don't know.
It's already
But
gone.
my,
Look,
but
he
my
went
new
around.
house is missing a deck.
Yeah.
And I
You're not gonna do it.
no, I could though if I really wanted to.
Now
I
that
won't.
you know how. That's right.
No.
At least put out the security lights.
Yeah. I can do that.
Thank you for coming and joining us.
Enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I love
Thanks.
talking about this experience because it was so crazy. Unique. It's awesome to talk about it. So thanks for having us on.
Oh, exactly. And you know, anytime y'all just want to come back on, just let us know. So you're always welcome on GenFriends. And we're hoping that as things are opening up and we get to go to conferences and things now, that perhaps at a conference, especially Roots Tech, a lot of times they have the teams come and we get to actually meet y'all in person. And so that would be that'd be really fun. So I guess we don't know yet what's going to happen for February next year. So we shall see. Anyway, thank you so much.
Thank
for
you.
coming.
you.
We have
Girl.
enjoyed this, and my wonderful panel. Thank you for being here tonight too. And we will see you next time on GenFriends. Bye, everybody.
Bye.